we keep it popping here. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and a website that keeps you up to date on all the events that are going on. So if you have Twitter, we want you to follow us right now at VO_Dalton. VO_Dalton. Facebook, get at us. We know there's some information that came out recently about Facebook. You already know that that's what was going on, right? Nobody's surprised that they're taking your material. You're the product. You're not surprised that they're taking that and selling it to companies and getting all your information. And you search for something, and then an hour later, an ad comes up for what you just searched for or something you're talking about. You're not surprised by that, are you? But we do have a Facebook page. We utilize it a lot to let you know about our upcoming events and also show you a little bit about what's going on here. So if you want to join us on Facebook, like us at VO Dalton. And we have an Instagram account also, which is also at VO Dalton. So tag us. Those of you who took these selfie pictures, tag us and we will represent you. Tag us on Facebook. Make sure that we know. And also, if you haven't already done so, you can download the Village app. It's available through the Google Play Store or the Apple, App Store. So all of that can happen. So some networking is going on here today, right? I see you all with your bags. I see a few granola bars. I see some water. I see some chips. We got plenty of it for you. So quickly, I really think it's important for us to identify the source of this forum. When we were with Mayor Rogers at IIT in Chicago at the franchise fair, he immediately said that he wanted to have the same kind of an event. He wanted it to be a little bit different. Not exactly what happened, but he said we have to do this here for our people. You know, Mayor Rogers is always thinking about ways to bring resources here, bring businesses here, and whatever the need is, whether it's our young people, whether it's our women entrepreneurs, or whether it's our young men, he's always figuring out ways and thinking about ways to bring us in, which is why you see some of the organizations with us, like the Neighborhood Housing Services, organizations that we have relationships with. We're bringing them here so that these resources that we are aware of, we can bring them all to you. So we want to definitely thank Mayor Rogers. He's the reason why we're having this forum today and why we're going to have another one, which is going to be even bigger. And he's able to break away. I don't know how many of you all know about Mayor Rogers, but there is hardly a time where he's able to sit still. He's an entrepreneur. He's a business owner. He's a father. He's a grandfather. He does so many things. And he's also my boss, so I want to make sure it'd be real good. So, please give a warm round of applause to Mayor Riley H. Rogers, Mayor of the Village of Dalton.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming today. And he mentioned the hardest job, his boss. Now I want to say Ashad does a great job, as all the people that work in my office. We are a team. Mary, Elizabeth, Ashad, and Edward. We make a lot of things happen in the village. And I said we. I actually sit down with them, tell them what I'd like to get done, and they do it. And they do a fantastic job, and they don't look at the clock. If it takes coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning, in at 8 o'clock at night, they do it. But you know, to do job as a public servant, it's not a 9-to-5 job. You can't please everybody. Hopefully the people that elected you had faith in you to represent them and do the positive things and do the good things for the town. And that's what we try to do. When I came in the office, we had 15.7% unemployment. So one of the main things I wanted to do was to try to get business in town and have those businesses employ some of our residents. Our largest employer here was Aldar Manufacturing Company, 419 employees. Only 7 of them lived in Dalton. Unacceptable. So Aldar Manufacturing Company, the biggest usage of gas in our town, was paying a municipal gas tax of about $800,000 a year because they make glass and they use gas to make the glass. So they wanted some concessions in regards to that gas tax. Well, you got to give us something. Okay, Mayor, what do you want? I want employment. Entry-level employment at Aldar Manufacturing is $58,000 a year. You can live off that. So we gave them some concessions with the municipal gas tax, and we entered into agreement with them where they were the next 50 employees that was hired at their manufacturing company will be from Dalton. So we had Senator Durbin here, Senator Napoleon Harris, our state rep Thaddeus Jones, Will Davis, and the CEO from Auto Manufacturing Company that came all the way from Ireland. We entered into the agreement, and the next 77 employees that was hired at Aldog came from Dalton. We bought into Taco Bell. We need you to hire some people from Dalton. Bought into Checkers. We need you to hire some people from Dalton. Checkers came in, hired 71 employees. 60 of them were from Dalton. Some of those employees came from our high school. They're still working there now. We went to Menards. You're in the TIF program. We need you to hire some people from Dalton. They hired people from Dalton. We went from 15.7% unemployment down to 6.7% unemployment. Demanding that those businesses that come in here that want speedy permits, speedy inspections, and other little incidentals, you got to pay for it. Not literally pay for it, but why can't we be reciprocal in giving you something, giving us something? And what we want is employment for our residents. So the next step is, we can't get everybody hired. Maybe we can get people in their own business, which also will make them gainfully employed and be able to support their families and flourish. So who do we have here? We have the SBA. And we have other entrepreneurs, and we have other groups that are organizing to try to help those that want to get in business and encourage those that maybe never thought about business and maybe be able to get them gainfully employed by being self-employed. So that's why we're doing a program like this. And this is just the beginning. We've got a strong commitment from the SBA to come out and help our residents. And some of you that start businesses and homes and want to go to the next level, or you just want to stay in your home, you can still get, if you qualify, still get loans from the SBA to work out of your homes. And I heard a previous presenter talk about going to the next level, leaving your home and going to the brick and mortar. And when you go to the brick and mortar, you can almost triple your expenses. So every move has to be carefully decided. And we want to bring the people in that can help you to make those decisions, because the first thing, the main thing that we don't want to do is for you to have failure. But I'm going to tell you, even if you fail, you get up, dust yourself off, get back in the game. Because a lot of these businesses have failed first, and they got right back up, and they become successful. 100 restaurants open, only 2 are going to survive. I like to cook. Well, you're a cook, you may not be a restaurateur. So everything that you can do to try to learn to support your business and to stay in the business is it's up to you, because the information's out here. Google, all the presidents that filed bankruptcy. Google Henry Ford and see how many times he filed bankruptcy. But Ford is out there, one of the leaders in selling auto cars. Heinz Ketchup, they filed bankruptcy. Don't let that detour you, because there's going to be some failures, but you learn from your failures and you say, I'm not making those mistakes anymore. There's a lot of mentors out here, and in some cases do less talking than listening. My grandfather said, you can't learn too much if you keep talking, because you can't hear anything. Or somebody trying to tell you something. So stay tuned. This is just the beginning, and this may be a little premature But we had a great conversation with Carol, I'm sorry, what's your last name? Carol Harris. She's from the SBA. And the Deputy Director, Mark Ferguson, with the SBA, myself, Rashad, Trustee Jason House, who went downtown, had a very fruitful conversation. And hopefully, if things go well, we can make a big announcement about how the SBA is going to help us here in the Village of Dalton. Thank you all.
Right. So we're going to go right at it. So Mayor Rogers, we thank you for those words of guidance. Mayor Rogers is a business owner. Anytime you want to grab him and ask him any information about successful businesses and what to do so that you will not be unsuccessful, he's willing to give it to you. Absolutely. He has a lot of experience. I learned a lot from him in all areas, and you can too, especially in this environment where we're all looking for business. And the information that you're getting today, I'm just going to tell you, I go to seminars, and many of you who are here, you go to seminars, you probably spending like $500 or $1,000 for a seminar to get the kind of information that you're getting from these people today. And this is free of charge as a service to you because of what Mayor Rogers wanted to bring to the Village of Dalton. So I think he deserves another round of applause for this. So we're going to go right at it. We have two more heavy hitters. So if you've recovered now, you got some carbs and you got some water in you, because these two people, I mean, this is a person who can just, everything that you ask related to business, she has the exact remedy and 3 areas of opportunity that you can go. This is Carol Johnson Harris. She is the lead economic development specialist for the U.S. Small Business Administration Illinois District. And just so you know, I mean, Mayor Rogers was talking about our meeting. The director, the deputy director, we got to a certain point where he was talking. He was like, wait, no, I need her in here, you know, because of her level of expertise and her knowledge. And he was like, I need her to be in here in this meeting, what you all asked me and what we're talking about. She definitely needs to be in here. And then she came and just started to deliver. Carol is the lead, I already said her, what she does. The SBA provides financial assistance to small businesses through the guarantee of loans, microlending, surety bonds, and 504 lending, government contracting, certifications, and procurement assistance. They also advocate for small businesses by providing counseling, training, and management, as well as business development assistance. Ms. Harris is a project manager with experience in underwriting guarantee loans, portfolio management, and government contracting. Now, if there's any of those terms that I'm using right now and you don't necessarily know what it is, she's going to explain it. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the misunderstood words. We're going to get it straight today. Carol manages the Illinois District's Office of Economic Partnerships with the IDCEO SBDC network, women's business centers, SCORE chapters, and SBA public-private partnerships, including emerging leaders and economic development special initiatives. Carol is a graduate of the University of Illinois at Chicago with a degree in accounting. That's heavy right there, a degree in accounting. A CPA certified government financial manager, CGFM, and she's a 2013 Chicago REAP graduate. Master gardener, beekeeper, and small business owner. So you know a little bit about her. Please give a warm round of applause to Carol Harris.
Did you bring any honey, Carol?
I did not. It is not the season right now. And there's actually a couple things I'm trying to figure out. So the first thing, I just want to just talk about this process of life and relationships, because the prior speakers brought up so many good points. And one of the things I found out about beekeeping is when you don't have it, that's when your church members and friends and family ask for some more honey. It's just right now, it's a hobby. I have not figured out how to turn it into a small business. But I wanted to share just a couple comments. The prior speaker, first of all, I just want to share with you, I appreciate the fact that you started this public meeting with prayer, because I think it's just super important that we look at our purpose. So when we were talking about, and you were presenting, you know, take a look at your purpose. I would suggest that for everyone in here, especially the women that are in here, that perhaps that we take a look at the Dora Milaje, which is from Black Panther. And the concern and the issue is that with that group, the reason why those sisters were so powerful, they were the special forces, okay, was because they had the spirituality, they had the serious focus and intent upon protecting the empire. Okay, that's really what it was about. And so what I would suggest is that it is that aspect of your spirituality and your focus and your intent by which you take care of your households and your community. And what I'm going to suggest to you is, I just want to draw a picture. Economic development is basically this line and process by which there are a number of continuities that connect together. And this is what I'm talking about. In your home and in your household, you take care of your space, okay? So whether you're in an apartment or whether you're in a home, whether you're in a condo or whatever your space is, the fact of the matter is you take care of your family, best case scenario, and you grow so that you understand your responsibilities as far as what's coming in and what's going out. So when you take a look to advance on that sort of financial literacy span, what takes place is you may seek to purchase, whether it be a house or a car, and then from there you may take a look at, not beyond investing, how do I build a business? Okay, and that's sort of that next step in financial literacy as far as the continuity. And I think what's super important is that I would encourage everyone here to try to make certain that you're connecting with the resources that are here. And let me explain why, as far as the value of these resources. The next lady that's coming up to speak is going to talk with you about franchises. And franchises are super important in case you want to begin a business and you have the ability to invest and you're looking for a space, and I'm not going to steal any thunder, but the issue is you're looking for a space to invest, but you may not necessarily have that hobby, such as beekeeping, okay, to bring to the table. But you know that you want to actively invest in a business and be hands-on. And a franchise offers you that prepared space by which you can sell a product and or service and bring it to the marketplace. And so I need for you to connect with this lady at the end of this event, because the Franchise Expo is actually here in Chicago on today and tomorrow out at O'Hare. And you've got someone that's here that's talking about a manner and a way by which you can look to go into business. Let me share with you all a few other connector points that I think are super important. I got two young people that are in college, one in graduate school, one in undergraduate. So it's money always going out, okay? And they're kind of looking at me like, Mom, can you help us with this or with that? And so I met a lady that spoke about women in trades. And the fact of the matter is, while I have one that's getting ready to graduate from undergrad, and she's looking at working in her field, okay? She has talents, and some of her talents is she's always tinkering and working with items. So you know, I'm gonna take these materials that I received from this lady and say, I need you to consider this. I need you to consider building up, not just in the field that you studied and got a degree in, but I need you to have a path B that may also work, sort of that flip side. And I need you to take a look at the women in trades opportunity related to apprenticeship, okay? So there's a lot of really good resources here. There's a lady here from NHS that I spoke to. And what I think is super important related to NHS is that when I ran into her in the ladies' room, and this is funny, she was a Girl Scout with my daughters. And so we were just talking about, making that connection. And she had shared with me that she had just come out of school, and she was sharing with me what she does. And part of her interest is in daycare. She likes working with young people, with little people. And so the connection that we made was, in that case, I was able to share with her some information related to the Women's Business Development Center. They have an excellent daycare program. If you're interested in growing your business, if it's home-based and you want to stay home-based, or if you want to grow to center-based, okay? They have an excellent child care expo that comes up in June. It's always the third Saturday in June. It's at the UIC Forum. They bring in state and sort of licensing regulatory people. They bring in vendors that share everything from educational resources to the toys and trinkets and items that young children play with. And they talk about everything from how to organize your slots and your time and your efforts. So I'm hopeful that she's going to follow up with that information to build her small business. The whole point and the reason why we're here is really to talk about this affirmation of self. And it's the process of really taking the time to share information. I'm going to get started with my presentation, but I just want to share one other thing that I think is super important. Florence brought up, and the young lady before brought up, the fact that lots of times you talk with entrepreneurs and you ask them, well, what is it that you want to do? And they're either all over the place, okay? And or they're not specific. So my suggestion is take the time to take a look at what your vision is. Because one of the conversations, if you hear the question that will come to you when you utilize these resources is, what is your vision? And what we want you to do is to be able to articulate that vision. And I'm going to share some resources with you as far as some training classes and cohorts by which you can look to articulate that vision. But the reason why that's important is because I'll tell you what I don't want, and you'll get it in a minute. What I don't want. I don't want you to start off with what you don't want. I'm tired of this, I'm sick of this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. Tell me what you do want to do. Carry it forward in the positive, okay? And you will have really good results as you work with advisors. Carry it forward to say, this is what I envision. This is what I'm looking to do. And here's my questions. You can have 100 questions along the spectrum, and they can be everything from, I got to figure out the finances, the space, the resources, and I don't entirely get all these things. And that's okay. But what I need you to do, very honestly, is that SWOT, okay, related to your resources, okay? And then take a look at what it is that you're asking for, because you'll move along the spectrum much faster and you'll get more of the things that you need if you approach it from the affirmative, okay? And that's super important because I talk with a lot of small business owners, and unfortunately sometimes we start off with what we don't want to do. So now let me tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to keep my presentation short, and I'm going to try to open it up for answers. It's 12:13, and I'm going to try my best to see if we can be finished by 12:30, okay? So with that said, my name is Carol Harris. I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration, and a few of you all might have met my direct boss, who is Mark Ferguson, and he and I had been in the field for some time and just doing a lot of work. So I've got a presentation slide just in saying, welcome to everyone who's here from Dalton and perhaps in other areas too. And so I just want to share some information with what the federal agency does, and that's sort of the paid political announcement. And then to share with you some information about our programs and services, tools and tips, and Q&A. So we're a federal agency, and lots of times you may have heard of us, but you may not have seen us. And this is kind of what takes place. Federal agencies have the responsibility to leverage resources, and we do that through a number of different ways. One of the fastest ways that you hear about federal agencies is when they guarantee things, such as VA guarantees loans. Department of Education provides a guarantee for educational loans, okay? Federal Housing Authority provides guarantees for loans. So what SBA does is we're in the background, and one of the things that we do is we provide guarantees for loans, okay? The other thing that, just a small tip, is that whenever you're dealing with a federal agency, usually when you take a look at their web address, it always ends in .gov, okay? In 2017, we did approximately $1.2 billion in financing in the Illinois district office. There's 68 district offices. Obviously, there's 50 state offices, and then in some cases, those districts have a number of different offices, such as California, which has 5 offices. Illinois has 2. And we guaranteed approximately 2,250 loans, and we provided a lot of assistance. There are some resource partners in the room that I, again, want to connect with and make certain that I'm sharing some information so you really know who's boots on the ground and provides assistance to small business owners. So here's just a copy of our resource guide. What's really important is we're getting ready to rebrand, so some things are going to look a little bit different, but if you would like access to the resource guide, it's the www.sba.gov. It's our Illinois website, which is /IL. And what's super important about that resource guide, if you do look it up, is on page 8, is every staff member's name and their phone number and their email address, okay? And that's super important so you can navigate around, not get caught up in the voicemail system, and you know how to get to people, okay? Because sometimes you got to get to people. So 3 program areas. We call it the 3 C's. So we deliver effectively counseling, mentoring, assistance, and I'll explain that network because we've got a couple resource partners here and I'm delighted. We provide access to capital through the process of funding microlenders, providing guarantee loans, and we've got a couple structured programs. And we provide contracting and business development assistance, okay? We want to help small business owners grow their businesses and best case scenario, be able to do business with the federal government. The other thing that's really important that we don't talk about much, but we're in the background doing is we provide disaster assistance to communities around the nation. And so this is how it goes down. Worst case scenario, there's a flood. Worst case scenario, there's a huge electrical outage on the grid. Worst case scenario, there's a tornado that goes through a community. So what generally takes place is that initially there's a declaration, and FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, comes in. Usually right after that, it's a non-governmental organization known as the NGO, and that's usually Red Cross. And then probably the 3rd and 4th group is SBA. And what takes place is we receive applications from businesses, homeowners, and renters for low interest loans if there has been a federal disaster, okay? There's a couple of disaster declarations that are outstanding right now, generally related to flooding and or tornadoes. And what takes place is we receive those applications, we provide low interest loans, and I can tell you that we work with economic development groups and chambers and cities and villages to share that information, okay? Now, relate to this first C. You may have heard of SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives, and they provide mentoring assistance. It's a national network. There's approximately 8 chapters that are here in the state of Illinois, and they provide low and or no cost workshops. When I was leaving out of the office on Friday, they had a marketing workshop. The week before, they had completed and put together QuickBooks workshop. They're bringing some really good subject matter experts in to teach. And so you want to look to connect with them. They actively provide confidential counseling and training at a number of different spaces besides our district office. SCORE and SBA are co-located at 500 West Madison, and that's Suite 1150. However, they go out into the community and they do counsel and provide assistance. They go out to First Midwest Bank, out to Wintrust, and different locations. So keep them in mind. If there are any ladies here that plan to make it to the Black Women's Expo that's coming up in April, you'll probably see a SCORE table there, and they will engage in some one-on-one sort of swift mentoring and providing assistance. What I like about them now is that they do have a new president, and he is proactive in working with a number of different groups, Hispanic MBAs, Black MBAs, Asian MBAs, and he is actively making certain that he's looking to serve our communities throughout the state of Illinois. So with the next comment, I think that there may be a couple of SBDC directors here. Is the SBDC director from ICNC here? Yes. Hi. It's a pleasure to meet you. Okay, I know there have been a few changes. Let me hype you up. The reason why I really appreciate ICNC is because they're one of 26 small business development centers that are located throughout the state. And I'm going to give you a list of all of them in a couple of screens. But what I love about ICNC is that they have a couple of women's training programs that operate out. Do you all still do the emergency medical technician program? Okay, that comes out. Okay. And the other thing that I appreciate about ICNC is they get it right. They understand this process of incubation, and they provide a sense of shared office space and location. And I'm not trying to steal any thunder in case you all speak, but they are, so let me give you an example. You have a small business and you just do screenings for all types of specialty items. You can find a space, an actual incubator space with ICNC. You have a small business and you figured out, you got some family that's in Brazil and you figured out how to bring some beans back. And you are looking to get, your beans into different coffee shops throughout the city, okay? They have space for you. They incubate small businesses. And that's really sharp. It's not just going out to the small businesses, but they incubate them, okay? And that is super, super important. They're in a center, and they're actually co-located right near the Chicago Honey Co-op, right? The Chicago Honey Co-op is over that way.
They are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I've had the chance to just go over there when I needed to get some machinery. So anyway, and some filters. So with that said, really, really good Small Business Development Center. You heard from Ms. Hardy before. Ms. Hardy is with Far South Small Business Development Center, and they do excellent work too. The Small Business Development Centers just celebrated their 38th anniversary, where they had Small Business Development Center Day, which I believe was March 21st. And what's important, and this is the way to understand them, SBDCs are a national program of SBA. They tend to be hosted by different groups. Here in Illinois, it's through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. So when you heard them mention this private-public partnership, my responsibility is to work with their director, okay? And they have directives by which they have a lot of really good tools that are available. So you can go into a Small Business Development Center, you can receive confidential counseling, and in addition, they will help you with a number of different entrepreneur training programs. They will help you with management and technical assistance to run your small business. You have a passion related to your business. It's childcare, it's beekeeping, it's tax returns, it's this, it's that. But what they're going to help you with is understanding those fundamental topics related to taking a look at your budget and or your marketing and or your technology plan and or are you seeking to sell a product or a service overseas. And they're going to basically walk you through sort of those fundamentals that cover the basic business topics related to running your business. You definitely want to talk with them. So the resources, Small Business Development Centers, which provide entrepreneur training programs, counseling, and one-on-one assistance and workshops. Women's business centers. Is anyone here from the WBDC? Okay. Okay, the WBDC is here in Chicago. They're at 8 South Michigan Avenue, and here's the key: they specialized in child care and assisting women that are interested in growing, whether it be home-based or center-based child care businesses. But the other thing that they do is they really advocate for women-owned businesses and for equal access, and they've grown their stiletto footprint large enough by which they're able to step into some other areas. So they're providing assistance in Aurora, Illinois now. They're providing bilingual assistance in English and Spanish. They're doing some scale-up training programs in various Chicago neighborhoods. They're seeking to get to the south suburbs. There is a really good opportunity for them. Right now, they are operating the Governors State University Small Business Development Center, and they're looking to see if they're going to be able to establish, and we're hopeful that they are, a women's business center there very soon. So if that is the case, there will be a third women's business center, Chicago, Aurora, and then best case scenario in University Park, okay? As mentioned, SCORE, which provides assistance, and then public libraries, which I think are very important, and I'll show you why in a minute. I want to share with you some information related to cohort training programs, which I think are super important. Used to lead up, we are getting ready to now seat our 11th Emerging Leaders Program. We provide that program in 58 district offices across the nation by which we work with 20 entrepreneurs that are, now here's the key, established entrepreneurs. You're in business, you're employing people, and you have revenues, okay? And what takes place is we provide those entrepreneurs with effectively a mini MBA by which they're working through scenarios and they're developing a strategic growth plan. Okay, so let's say you're a startup, okay? You're not big, you're smaller, and you're trying to grow. What programs are available? The SBDCs provide entrepreneur training programs. They'll do plan for profit. They'll take a look at scale-up programs. They will provide entrepreneur training programs to help you grow your business idea. Not just the planning of it, not just the execution, but really interacting with on a regular basis and covering certain skill sets by which you can grow your small business. And why is that important? Because you need to talk with other entrepreneurs. You're busy in your business, and you don't have time to necessarily talk with anybody else because you're taking care of your stuff, okay? But the fact of the matter is, you may need to do business with other entrepreneurs, and you may need to hear some additional ideas. And so what we know is entrepreneur training programs bring entrepreneurs together, people that have a focus on their businesses and they want to do business with other businesses, and they want to work with thought leaders that are providing them with assistance through training programs. That's what an entrepreneur training program does. They tend to be free of charge. And if they're not free of charge, there's a very small amount that's due. And lots of times with the SBDCs, they may also have some underwriting by which the seats are available and free of charge. Who's heard of Goldman Sachs? Goldman Sachs is the program that initially, I think, came out of New York. They just recently had a huge conference on, I think it was on CNN or C-SPAN. Here in Chicago, they are affiliated with the Chicago City Colleges. They get a lot of their referrals through the Small Business Development Center. So if you register with the Small Business Development Center, you can tell them, I'm interested in this entrepreneur training program, and they can look to recruit you into Goldman Sachs. And the difference, and I'll give you this explanation, the difference with Goldman Sachs and emerging leaders is this. Goldman Sachs is like flying out of Midway. They turn the corner and you out, okay? Emerging leaders, because it's 6 to 7 months, okay, there's fewer cohorts, but there's a longer time period. So it's more like flying out of O'Hare. You know, it's a little bit of takeoff, okay, and then you go out. And so with Goldman Sachs, 3 months, but please know that some of the same instructors related to thought leadership with small business development and growing your business teach in both programs, okay? So there's a few other things. John Marshall has a law school that they have a business entrepreneur clinic by which you can go in and get assistance. I don't know if they'll do transactional assistance, but I do know that they provide assistance. The Law Project is, I think it's now known as the Community Law Project. It came through the Chicago Lawyers Group. They have some excellent information. And let me give you this example. Let's say you have a passion and you really don't want to go in this business. What you really, really, really want to do is start a not-for-profit. Or maybe you're flowing towards, you need 2 trains running. You want the not-for-profit because you want to deliver a service to your community that you're passionate about. And at the same time, you recognize that you need to sell a product or a service because that's part of the funding for that not-for-profit. So you got to sort of have 2 trains running. What takes place is the Law Project will help you work through the process of establishing your not-for-profit. They've got some really good programs where they talk about entrepreneurship, and they also talk about establishing that not-for-profit and how to train your board members so that they're not just board members, but so that they bring to the table what it is you need them to bring. Because if the person works for the airline and you have a fundraiser and they can't bring 2 tickets that you can auction off, you got issues. You want to work with your fund, you ought to get that, okay? You want to work with your board members by which they're actively bringing to the table and understand their fiduciary responsibilities, their fundraising responsibilities, and they're helping you to grow that not-for-profit, Okay, so the Law Project has some excellent programs, and I would strongly suggest that you take a look and talk with them if you're working through some legal issues related to your small business or your not-for-profit. The Center for Economic Progress provides assistance to small business owners, especially related to taxes. They can help you personally, and then they can also help you with your business taxes. So you want to talk with them. And then DePaul has a long-standing program by which they've been working with family businesses. And they will work with you if you're looking to transfer your business to generation to generation. Okay. So next comments. There's a couple things. How many of you all have children and you took the child and you put them on the wall and they're here, and then you measure and they're here, and then they're here? That's known as business benchmarking. It's this whole process of saying we have a basis to start and now we're taking a look at growth. Or you go to a doctor and they begin to talk about percentages of growth, not just in height, but also in weight and the rest. Okay, so what takes place with business benchmarking is there's certain matrix that you want to understand related to the data of your business, okay? Your market share, where you are related to growing your revenues and the rest. And there are some reference points, and these are effectively small business evaluation and benchmarking tools. The SBDCs generally have licenses to help you with quite a few of these tools. You can also find these tools at public libraries, okay? And SBA has a couple of tools that are available too. Here's a few of them. We have a business plan tool as the SCORE. There's a size up analysis tool, and there's local assistance tools. The reason why I have Census Bureau listed is because as you grow your business, you're going to need what's known as the NAICS code. Does anyone know what that is? Okay. North American Industrial Standard Classification Code. It's a 6-digit code which identifies everything from your industry, and then it gets specific. Okay, and so what takes place is your NAICS code is also used on some of your tax returns, I think on your Schedule C and a few other spaces. And as you grow your business, you want to know your NAICS code, because if you step into any aspect of contracting at any level, federal, county, city, state, municipal, township, they will generally ask you for your NAICS code. Okay, so it's part of building sort of your business ID, and you want to make certain that you pick that up. And that's something that you can find online. But this whole process of benchmarking and economic data mining is super important for those that want to do some research. Some of it you can do on your own. You could take it to an SBDC or a SCORE counselor, and in some cases they can point you to it, okay? What I think is super important is this Connect to Cook, and I just wanted to share that with you. If you happen to be in Cook County, I don't know if there's any Cook County people that are here, but they have some economic data and planning tools that are available. You know, they're doing everything from the Cook County Land Bank. If you need some commercial property or you're looking at some industrial property, to understanding and breaking down the demographics and the numbers that come out of the U.S. Census Bureau that are specific to the county. And you might say, well, why is that important for my business? And let me just give you this example. Because you're building your business up, and if I'm a lender, I'm looking at you related to understanding where are your revenues. And so if you come and you provide me with a marketing plan, and your marketing plan is really intense in saying, I understand that, you know, this is the population, these are some of the demographics, and this is how they're looking to buy my product and or service, it helps you just build a much stronger plan to get financing, okay? So just be aware that these economic data mines exist, okay, that SBDCs and or SCORE can help you with them, and that you can get access to them. That's what's super important, okay? Just a few other things. For those that are interested in selling their products or services overseas, there's international trade centers. There's approximately 8 in the state. They help small businesses. I was amazed at how many small businesses are actually just selling right over the border. They have Canadian clients and or they have clients that are in provinces of Mexico. And so the bottom line is they're actively exporting. And you may not think of it that way. You may think of it as going over to Europe or this or that. No, if you sell over the border, if you have sales that by which you're selling across the U.S. borders, you may actually be exporting. Please know that there's some specialized assistance that's available. If you're interested in participating in business matchmaking, you want to go on a trade mission to Romania, this space or that space. The Illinois Department of Commerce, through their Office of Trade and Investment, has availability where they will actually go to trade missions to different countries. What's super important to know is that they can help you with market intelligence. We have what's called a USIAC. There's approximately 14 across the nation. Those are known as U.S. Export Assistance Centers, and they are staffed with people from the U.S. Department of Commerce, SBA, and Ex-Im Bank to help you with the trade financing. And those tend to be, keep in mind, for more advanced small businesses that have established themselves. Are there any lenders in the room? Okay, hi. If you don't mind me asking, what bank are you with, or which federal? HHS, yeah, I appreciate you all. You all helped me with the deal. They're real. I'll say this very quietly. I had the opportunity, to put my boots on and renovated the Greystone, and I needed your help on the back end related to some of the work. It was very helpful. So thank you. So let's talk about cap access. And this is what's really important. Most people think, and I heard this said, that SBA loans money, except for when we do disaster lending, we're out of the direct lending program. And I would suggest, if you take a look at federal programs, most federal agencies do not directly lend. Okay, what we do is we guarantee, and I stated this, we guarantee. Okay, we provide guarantees. So when Veterans Administration provides assistance to a veteran, generally it's going to be through a bank by which they provide a guarantee. When SBA provides assistance to small business owners, what takes place is the bank is initiating, or it can be the borrower, okay, is initiating the transaction, and then the bank, the lender, the finance company is asking us for a guarantee. And in some cases, they have specialized authority by which they can turn it around in 24 or 48 hours. They know the program. They just put the numbers in, and it kicks out a guarantee. But that's super important to say. But please know that we do, with our micro lending program, okay, we do actually fund micro lenders by which we're providing them with a base, a pool of funds, and then they're matching that with an additional funding to create a pool by which they can make small business loans. Some of those micro lenders that are active in this community are going to be CNI, which is known as Center for Neighborhood Initiatives, I believe. They're on 111th and Pullman, the Pullman Bank, the U.S. Bank building. Axion Chicago, which is active not just in the city but around the state and actually around the nation. They provide micro lending. And then there's a group called Justin Peterson. Now, those are micro lenders that are SBA certified. There are other loan programs. And when you talk with small business owners, with SBDCs, it's really important to find out if they have a program. ICNC may have some capital that they're actually seeking to get out on the marketplace. I can tell you the Women's Business Development Center does, okay? And they are actively, if you got to talk to them, okay, but they have money that is available. Okay, so with that said, just keep in mind, we don't actually loan money where we're giving you a check, okay, but we are providing guarantees and we're attempting to mitigate that risk related to small business lending. And I'm going to quiet down very quickly because I'm already over my time limit. Bottom line, here are some of the various programs, and it's everything. When you take a look at the specs, you're going to look at your percentages, your loan amounts, the percentage of guarantee, the use of loan proceeds, and the rest. I can tell you that we're doing deals on a regular basis. We're talking with small business owners, and we're talking with the bankers. We're talking with them about their neighborhood initiatives by which they're seeking to get money in on the streets. Let me give you a real good example so you really kind of understand this process. Chase, you see them retail everywhere, okay? Chase does the most loans in our community related to what are known as the small deals, by which they're $100,000 and under. But Chase also recognized that they needed assistance to get to certain type of small business owners, the demographics. So they recognized that if they wanted to get to more African Americans, more Hispanics, more Asians, that they had to do some things differently. So they fund at times these groups that pull together funds and then they create money. So VEDC, which is known as Valley Economic Development Corporation, had a huge announcement. It was in Chicago, it was in New York, and also in LA, where they had been able to pull some funds, and then they were actively seeking to get those funds out in the street in the form of small business loans to various communities. So you'll see banks that actually have brick and mortar, but there are also a number of different funding initiatives that you will hear about that are available for small business owners. And just recognize that, because what you want to do is you want to ask, because a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So if you see something, you want to try to follow up and get to the base of who's the lender and or what are the criteria for the program by which I can get my business funded, okay? So with that said, 504 program, it's our larger deal program, 20 or 10-year terms. This is more of a capital assets program where you're looking to build and or let's say buy a commercial or an industrial condominium, things of that sort. I can talk with you about it in detail, okay? I mentioned the micro lending fund programs, and those would be CNI, which is Center for Neighborhood Initiatives, Axion Chicago, Justin Peterson. And then please know that besides our certified program, there's a number of other micro-lending programs that are available. Okay, contracts, just briefly, you may have heard of the 8A program. I was speaking with someone here who mentioned that they worked actively with Lolita, who's one of my colleagues. Please know that you can sell your goods or services to government agencies. You can do that at the federal, county, city, state, municipal level. There's a difference between certification and procurement. Certification is the process of getting your business through by which you say, I am qualified to be able to sell, okay? Procurement is the process by which you seek those opportunities to meet the need of that government agency, okay? And with that said, what's super important for women, there is a women-owned small business opportunity. We've previously this month during Women's History Month presented approximately 6 events by which we've been talking about the WOSB opportunity and just talking with women business owners with roundtables and sharing information. And here's the key, and listening to what's super important related to women breaking through barriers and being able to sell their goods or services, get to lenders, basically take care of their small businesses by which they're able to grow to the next level. With WOSB, please know that there's a government-wide procurement goal. With HubZone, please know that there's a government-wide procurement goal. And for those small businesses that are ready to enter into that, there's some specialized training and we can provide you with some assistance. So here's some bottom lines. We've got a SCORE chapter, as I mentioned, that's very, very, very active, and you really want to connect with them to get some good assistance, even if it's just the training through subject matter experts, let's say for QuickBooks and or various types of programs. You want to take a look at the 11 area small business development centers, and let's count them out. The SBDC at Bethel New Life, which is on the west side, they consistently and always have entrepreneur training programs, and they provide good assistance. The Chicagoland Chamber, Greater Inglewood CDC, which is right near Halsted and 63rd Street. Florence was here related to Far South CDC. There's the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which tends to be co-located with 1871 at Merchandise Mart. There's the Women's Business Development Center at GSU, which is Governor State University, and they're looking to expand that SBDC to also pick up a women's business center. And why is that important? Because women business centers have the specific economic initiative to work with low and moderate income women. Okay, and this is important to say for all the brothers that are in the room, that women's business centers advocate for women. They do serve men too. Okay, it is equal opportunity. The Industrial Council of Northwest Chicago, why are they so important? Because they incubate businesses and they have really good training programs, and they're here. And it's about the presence of being here. The Joseph Center, which is located with Forest Park, and they're kind of the training initiative for a ministry. They're what we call one of our faith-based small business development centers, along with Bethel New Life. Okay, the YMCA of Chicago, believe it or not, on 66th and Cottage Grove, they just received Small Business Development Center funding, and they're active and they're working in that Woodlawn community. Greater Southwest is west, and they've always done a lot of housing work and advocacy for their community, and they're on West 63rd Street, kind of like near Kedzie, and they've just picked up a Small Business Development Center, and then of course the Women's Business Development Center. And then of course there's going to be SBDCs that are co-located at colleges and universities that are regional. So there's one at, like, for instance, College of DuPage, College of Lake County, like that. Okay? Okay. Finally, technical assistance centers. There's approximately 8 that are in the city. They provide assistance with any aspect of contracting. So if you're interested in contracting, procurement, you've got some issues related to measurements, size standards, you want to talk with them. The Women's Business Development Center hosts one. Are there any veterans in the room? Okay, for veterans assistance, there's a lot of programs that are coming up. Okay, so if you would share with me your information, and these are programs that are coming up for women veterans related to getting into business and or expanding your business. But for any veterans that are in the room, please know that there's a Veterans Business Opportunity Center. It's been in place for about 2 years, and they're working actively with small business owners, okay, that are veterans, and they're seeking to engage them with training and opportunities. Both of these centers for procurement, technical assistance, and Veterans Business Opportunity Centers are hosted at the Women's Business Development Center. As I mentioned, they've really expanded their stiletto footprint. You'll get it. Okay, and then finally, with takeaways, and this is what's really important, because I've shared a lot of information with you. I need for you, and this was mentioned before, part of your affirmation is you got these business cards and you've got this information, but what are you going to do with them? And as you noticed, when I first came up, I began to talk with you about the resources in the room, and I said that I was a connector. Okay, that's part of my purpose. I know I do that. And that's how I was able to connect and say I spoke with this person from Girl Scouts and helped with this, and then at the same time, I've got one that's coming out of school and I'm super concerned, and I was able to talk with a lady in trade, and she's going to see that information. If I have to snap, make copies, she's going to see it right away, because I need her to follow up, okay, to connect, okay. And I want to really seriously encourage you. The resources are there. I need you to use them. Okay, because every SBDC takes a look at how many clients they're bringing in. SCORE is looking at how many clients they're counseling. And so it's really important that you use these resources, especially since they're free. I pay taxes, you pay taxes. These resources are free. Okay, and if there is a charge, it's a minimal charge. But I promise you that they will help you with your affirmative approach to your purpose and your business plan, help you move further along the spectrum. Okay, and that's what it's about. Okay, this is about trying to connect the resources to help you grow your business. And I'll laugh and tell you this, we're like the third base coach. We're in the background funding, we're in the background helping, and then we're saying bring it on in, bring it on in. So if you approach us, the approach that we're going to take is initially we're going to listen, and then we're going to try to make the referral to a technical assistance provider, such as the Small Business Development Center, such as SCORE, such as these specialized training programs to assist you. And if you say, I'm trying to get to a bank, we're going to take a look at the bank list, and we're going to try to share information with you related to who is the small business officer. So we're trying to assist you get to the end good results that you want to achieve. We're going to suggest that you participate with your local business association or chamber unit please use the online tools. If you can't get to the person and this is bugging you at 2 o'clock in the morning, okay, take a look at SBA's website. We've got some excellent information. These are the last two takeaways. One is I want to give a shout out just to Dalton, and I just want to share with you why. It is true. I was doing what I needed to do and was really taking care of some business. Carol, come here. You should come over here. What's going on? And I walk in, the mayor's here, Mr. Trish is here, and one of the trustees is here. And I'm going to tell you how serious they were. Before I got back to my desk, because I was called away after we had a meeting to something else, when I came back, I already had an email from one of the trustees. Hey, we spoke. You said, get me this, okay? He was on it. And so please know that this team of public officials, that they really are reaching out to federal resources to try to bring not just attention to, but the dollars and the programs to your community to help you grow your business, okay? It's real talk, it's a real conversation. And I would encourage you to continue to try to utilize the services and then to talk with them about what it is that you need, because they surely are letting us know what it is that the community needs. And federal programs are such that communities have to approach federal programs and say, I've got some concerns and we have some needs related to employment, related to labor, related to infrastructure. Okay, and please know in turn that your public officials, they're asset mapping, so they know where the resources are in the community. They're just trying to get the programs and the constituents to come so that there can be a match and an alignment with the program and the services. Okay, that's really what public service is about, and in that manner, I think that they're doing a really good job. So my name is Carol Harris. I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration. I run the Economic Development Group here in the Illinois District Office, and I just want to thank you for taking the time for my extended presentation, but I appreciate you listening. So I need to know with that, just very briefly, if there's any questions, and then in turn, I can also take things offline. Anyone have any questions that I can answer right now? Yes. Yes.
I've heard of that before, but for the 504, I heard of that, but I didn't have enough information. I'm a self-employed person since I was 6, and I'm 22 with a 30-year-old daughter. Thank you very much. I'm in the city of Chicago. I'm Nubia Patah. I'm Sewing with Nubia. I'm the founder of a nonprofit. Looking for space to house my sewing studio has been a horror story. I mean, literally a horror story. So I woke up the other day and I said, I'm gonna buy. My credit is decent, but I don't have any money. I don't have any money unless you take a sewing class with me. So when I saw that, how could the 504 assist me with purchasing a building?
Well, best case scenario, the percentage for the formula for 504 is 50, 40, 10. But with a lot of new startups, it may change to 50, 35, 15, where 15% would be the equity injection. 35% would actually be the debenture, which is also known as a bond, and then the 50% would be the first mortgage. So let's say you were actively looking to set up like a loom and or effectively a studio. What you would look to do is project out how much you anticipate your revenues would be. Best case scenario, you would have some capital to bring to the transaction, because I think it's impossible to do a 504 deal without bringing capital to the transaction. And it would help you with the build out and or the purchase of a long-term space. But if you are actively building your revenues for your business, it might not be that you need to build out or purchase. It might be initially that you need to lease, okay? And maybe that's a conversation offline, and I'm not suggesting that you can't, because I don't know all the specs. But what I'm getting at is that with a 504 company, anytime a small business takes a look at effectively buying an industrial condominium and or buying a space, as Ms. Hardy had mentioned before, what's super important that a small business has to bring to the table is the ability to generate revenue. And so what's taking place is that if there's not sufficient revenue generation, there may be a different manner by which a small business lands in a good space, and it may not be through the 504 program. I think that's what I'm saying.
When can I set up an appointment to speak directly with you?
I will be in Monday afternoon, okay? Okay, not the morning, but in the afternoon, I will be in the office, okay? Did anyone else have any questions? There was a question? Yes.
I just wanted to know, could you email the PowerPoint to us, or how can we have access to it?
Yeah. So I think I had sent it before, but I think you had mentioned it was PDF'd, and so perhaps some of the comments were off space, but we can definitely get.
Yes, this whole video will be edited with the PowerPoint on YouTube next week. So you can always pull this video back out.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Take that to her. Hold on, speaking to the mic, your question.
Hi, my name is Deborah Hunter. I'm a graduate of Roosevelt University, and now I'm 64 and doing some other things. I was under the impression, and I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong, that the 504, you had to be a for-profit, and then there was some other one, like a 7A or something, for the non-for-profit, because you said you wanted what? Oh, so you're both. Oh, okay, I understand.
Okay. I'm going to address that a little bit differently. Federal programs are always going to be to generate, obviously, revenue, and those whole the tools for economic leverage and growth are going to be building workforce and job development. So small businesses that are for-profit are effectively generating jobs. Okay. Not-for-profits operate a lot like small businesses in that while there may be a different profit motive, okay, and there may be a different structure, okay, the fact of the matter is they are delivering a service, and at times that service can be delivered through the creation of jobs. But the 504 program and 7A program are both are for-profit businesses. Okay. Yeah.
This is a concern that I have. Mm-hmm. Do you all have influence with the state of Illinois in terms of I went to a summit 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. The prior state comptroller was there. Mm-hmm. And she had John on her panel, and she said that there was $88 billion available for small businesses. You shaking your head? No, it's not you. Oh, and my question to her at that time, because of the stalemate that the state was in, and she had also said that unless, like the mental health facilities and so forth, they were at least a year behind in paying them those contracts. And my question to her was that why should a small, new, or struggling business apply with the state of Illinois, go through all the headache of hiring people? Of course, you got to meet payroll and all that stuff. Even if you secure the contract, then what good is it if you can't get paid?
That's a real question.
And this is what she said to me, Leslie, at that point. That's a good question. But, no, I'm not talking about you, but what I'm saying is she was in a position to me better than to just tell me. I already knew it was a good question, else I wouldn't waste time answering. I wanted some real answers in terms of, okay, how does the small business person tap these resources and really put forth the job, like what you're talking about, the creation of jobs and everything? It's easy to create those jobs, but the minimum wage is a certain amount, and some of them trying to get up to $15 an hour. Being a business major, I've done payroll before, and you have to be able to pay FICA and all that other, FICA, federal insurance contribution. You can't just go around hiring people and then you can't write a check that doesn't bounce. So what's the influence?
Can I add just a
Yes.
couple comments? Okay. So let me talk about the advantage of federal contracts. Okay, because I'm going to approach your comments and the question from a couple of different standpoints. If I were a small business right now and I wanted to work with the state, okay, even through the budget stalemate, I'd be very selective in working with a state agency that generates revenues. Because if they generate revenues, okay, even with the court-ordered mandate, they were paying. So if you work with the Illinois Toll Authority, you're going to get paid. Versus if you work with Department of Human Services, they're not generating. Okay, so it's kind of a, keep in mind, at that point, it's not so much just what you sell and what your business brings to the marketplace. It is truly the selective side of which agencies on the state level were paying and how they were generating the revenues to be able to pay the small businesses. Okay, that's super, super important. I don't think that the controller or the treasurer really had control as to generating the levers. Actually, the courts stepped in and said, this is how we're going to try to get the state to pay through their agencies. And I'm not a state employee, I'm a federal employee, so I'm speaking as just someone that kind of looked at the situation. And what we were finding and what we were hearing was that there were some state agencies that were actively paying their vendors, and it had everything to do with whether or not they were generating revenue. So like Toll Authority, Highway, they were, okay? So that's part one. But the other thing that I'm going to suggest is this. We actively work with DCEO, and we do talk with them. But there's approximately 50 other state agencies that we have some conversations with, but we don't necessarily fund them. So generally with federal funders, if we're funding, we're going to talk with those program officers at those high levels because they're delivering services and programs that we're effectively not just paying for, but we're asking them to deliver that program or service. But with the comptroller, the treasurer, and the state budget situation, we didn't have much impact. We were actively working within our playground, which were the SBDCs. We were actively working with their director, okay, trying to make certain that with the public-private match, that they were utilizing their federal funding programs, federal funds, and that they were able to come up with their portion of the match too, okay?
All right, Ms. Harris.
Does that help?
Yep, that helps a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's great. I told you, right? That's the best connector I know. I mean, it just instantly starts coming out in real connectors. You know, you have a lot of people who are name droppers, right? You know, I know this person, whatever, and then it never pans out. But then you have other people who actually can connect you, and there's 1 degree of separation. Yo, here's the number. Call this person. You call this person. Oh yeah, here it is. And so she's going to be with us. We have a lot of information, as the mayor and she spoke about earlier. We have some future plans, and so I hope you learned a lot. I know I did. I learned a lot from what she said. It's more heavy hitters.